omen or like a reference to our ideal client.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like our ideal client knows what that is.
Pac-Man. My wife loves Pac-Man. I don't really.
Probably will have heart problems later in life thanks to Pac-Man. Just running away, like, come on.
Yeah.
Knowing it's going to cost another quarter to play again. Yeah.
Oh man, Sunday's Father's Day.
Are you doing this?
Just letting you know, Sunday is Father's Day. Just letting you know.
Oh, okay. I didn't
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Nobody's ready for that joke yet. Nobody's ready.
Well, I think I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna go with a joke in the beginning, and then maybe a little more aggressive joke at the end, and let's just see. We'll let the people vote.
Or maybe we just cut the last.
Everybody
Cody
was. All the comments were like, "Yeah, bring it on, man. Let's have joke week."
Oh goodness. Okay. All right. This can't be good. I need the clients that I talk to comment as well. So sounds like these are some of the ones.
And maybe I just thought of maybe a nice pickup line for the fellas out there.
Okay.
I'll hit you.
Okay. All right. So today though we're talking about 4 ways. That's what I'm talking about, to grow your net worth. And the idea, we want to talk through some. We'll be like, okay, maybe this is a gimme, maybe not. But generally, it's so easy to just tell somebody, hey, invest your money. That's how you're going to grow.
No.
Take the 401k match. We've talked about that 1,000 times.
You can get that from the other guys.
So what can we talk about? So
where's the energy? Come on now. These are unique ideas.
I wonder if that spiked the audio.
Probably. Sorry about that. We're trying some things different here. Like if you were a client and you called and you're like, Eric, blah, and you just told him your whole life, what path would Eric go? What path would I go?
Yep.
And give you some actual examples.
Yeah. And so this one, hear me out, because it is one we're going to ease you in a little bit. But the idea would just be asset allocation. I've seen so many people, especially getting closer to retirement, and it's the whole, well, let me go 50-50 now.
No, stop it.
50 stocks, 50 bonds. There's a lot of problem with making everything blanket in portfolios.
Yep.
And whether you think about it through a bucket strategy where you say, hey, I've got some money that's long-term money, some money that's short-term money. However you want to figure to do this, the idea is really starting to think through, let's say, the Roth IRA. We always talk about the Roth. What's that?
You look so comfortable.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to get there. So the Roth IRA and the idea of it being invested aggressively long-term. Now, Eventually, if you've started to spend down the rest of your money, maybe the Roth is, okay, we're going to start to then maybe scale it back a bit. But so many people don't realize that the Roth is oftentimes the last thing you should touch unless, for whatever reason, for tax purposes, you may need some money in the short term. You don't want to bump up your rate too much. You don't want to hit the IRMA tax, things like that. Investing for growth with it. And I want to give just a little slide here just to show you the idea. So if you have $100,000, I'm going to have Cody superimpose it. I'm like,
okay.
What? So
wow. Yeah,
something,
I see it.
Whatever he does. So if you've got $100,000 in your Roth and you're retired, and let's just say that, you're 60 years old. All right. And if you go 50-50, you're going to say, all right, well, I'm going to take this Roth IRA. I'm going 50-50, and I'm hoping to get a 5% return on my money.
Okay.
In 20 years, $100,000 is $265,000.
Awesome. Sounds great.
All right. That's not bad,
But there's more.
You've grown some money. Now, let me see if I can actually exit out of that. There we go. Now, if you instead go and you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to open this in a new window. Check that out. You see that one?
Whoa.
So if you have the $100,000 in the Roth and you invest it aggressively, because you do want to still grow your wealth, this is money you're not touching right this second. You're not scaling it back. 7% return, 20 years, $386,000.
Hey, that's a bigger number.
Yeah, 265, 386. I mean, you're wanting to grow your wealth. You're not, tripling your money. You're not taking excessive risk, but you're doing little things to make sure that you're growing your wealth.
And I take it personally because that is your responsibility as the advisor, my responsibility as the advisor to go, hey man, your Roth is not going to be slowed down. I don't care. You have 2 years left until retirement. Awesome. It'll go by quick. But when you retire, I have to be able to show you that Roth money is not going to be spent for another 11 years, 15 years, whatever it is. And that's that conversation where we say, see, that's why you could be aggressive. You're going to go through a couple more market cycles, but we want all the growth we can get out of that Roth.
Yep.
It's really on us to show you that and, help you sleep at night.
Yeah, and it's just general asset allocation. I really threw in the Roth to hit home on things, but the whole asset allocation.
Well, speaking of, you said 401k and stuff. Speaking of that, I signed up for the company 401k. I'm a little nervous. I've never run that far, but...
I was like, where did this come from?
I told you I'm gonna sneak one in there.
Okay, nice. One. There you go. Nice.
So I think of this a little differently. When people talk to me, I generally know most everything about you. I don't need to know what you do at night, but like I know where you're going in life. And so when I hear something different, believe it or not, it's all tracked. We follow it. So the other day, I'm talking to a client, gets a new job, is going to roll over a 401k, and it's like, okay, well, let's go through that process. And he's like, my company's giving me $20,000 to relocate, because I'm about an hour away. And he's like, it's a shame, because like there's a cabin that I want to buy and eventually rent it out. And I'm like, stop. Like, let's talk about this. So number one, we roll over the 401k. Number two, you take the $20,000 and you move. Let's start getting ahead on that property. What if you lived in that property for just a little bit? You know what I mean? Get yourself situated. It's about a half hour from work. And then what we, as we sort of build and expand it, we'll use a part of your now IRA that we rolled over from your 401k. We'll put that into what's called a self-directed IRA and allow you to start building that, what he hopes to be a maybe multiple cabin situation in the North Vermont woods. And now you can make income from that. Your IRA can make income from that. Not the whole thing, right? Because we don't know how much you're going to make yet, but you're able to do that. Yeah. And so just starting that conversation, questions. He's like, well, how does that work? I mean, can I live in it? No, we can't live in it. We went through each little process, but there's a scenario where that guy was going to be content with buying a condo or something closer to work because they gave him the $20,000. I'm like, here's a chance to build your wealth. You had that dream, knew about that. Let's start moving that direction with this opportunity. And it's $20,000 net, not $20,000 before tax either. So
I like it. I like
really
it.
Cool.
Yeah. On that, I just had a client that I spoke with, high income earner, and basically they were in a point where next year they're going to be their income's going to be skyrocketed only because some stock's going to come due for them. It's all going to vest. They're going to have to acquire all that and show it as all as income. And so they were kind of talking about possibly doing donor advised fund, looking at some things. And I'm like, well, have you ever had an interest in real estate? Because those are the times where potentially, again, it's not always the scenario and it's not something that maybe they want to look at, but the idea of buying some real estate, there's the cost segregation analysis.
Amen.
And if you do something like that, where basically you could potentially write off or depreciate a significant amount of the property in the first year or a few years, well, then that could lower your taxable income now. Then fast forward, 3 years, you're going to have to come back and recapture all of that. But at that point, the person's retired. They don't have this massive income that year.
Yep.
They can recapture it at a lower tax bracket. And so it's, again, possibilities.
Or like we were
thinking through things. That's the kind of stuff. Keep the money in your pocket out of Uncle Sam's. That's how you're truly going to grow your net worth. I mean, you hear it how many times, the wealthy are paying less taxes than the average person.
It's funny. We're like, as we walk around the office in the studio, I'll hear him say what his call was. We're bouncing ideas off each other. And even in that case, we were like, or what about the kids? Could the kids just take that property and get that step up in basis? Does he ever actually need to sell it? Would he want to sell it?
Yeah.
Everybody's unique, a little bit different. So it's just kind of fun to go, hey, did you mention that? And it's not that he doesn't know or I don't know. It's just in that moment we're like, oh my God, here's this thing you should do. And then I'll tell him and he's like, well, there's one more thing you can do. Add one more thing to that.
That's the brainstorming. That's the best part of it. Get the team. You don't just, have one person working on everything.
Yeah. So when you see videos of us like throwing the ball back there, it's like, all right, we're thinking. Yeah, we're thinking.
So on the home front of everything, the idea that a lot of people have, but I think right now is one of these moments where there's really opportunity, and we're seeing some of this already. But an easy way to grow your net worth is if you are a homeowner and you have a lot of equity in a home, downsize, especially in retirement. Now, not everybody wants to do that.
Uh-oh.
What do we got?
Did your butt hit the F5 button? Because that is refreshing.
Oh gosh.
Come on, man.
I don't even.
I told you I'm going to sneak it in there.
Okay.
I got one more.
All right. So back. Happy Father's Day, everybody. So back to the house.
Right.
If you are downsizing your home, it's an opportunity. Now you have to think through looking at the plan and really saying, okay, well, maybe you're increasing your net worth because you're just lowering your liability overall. You're not having to pay a lot more in a mortgage.
Yeah.
Or maybe your house is paid for. You can go then downsize, get another home that's now paid for, take the rest of the money and invest it in a taxable account to grow your wealth long term. Those are the people, especially, that are a little tight, going to be tight going into retirement, and it's starting to think outside the box on scenarios like that. And they say, well, we kind of want to. And it's like, well, do you want to retire now, or do you want to keep working a couple more years? Let's look at this.
You got to remember, it is emotional on your end. Like, one day I'm going to tell you a joke and you're going to be offended, right? That's an emotional response. And
I guess I got to stop my jokes, man.
I understand. I totally get it. They're always jokes, but realize that when we work out a scenario for you, like, we're not emotional about it. We just see the numbers, right? So we're just putting them down on paper going, here. And if you can't do it, if you can't sleep at night because, we had a strategy and you're like, I just don't know if I can be that person that invests in the toll road, the building or whatever. Okay, speak up. That's a chance to go, I disagree with that. We don't have to go down that path. But when we see a number that adds up to more than we're going to push until you go, no, I don't want to own a restaurant, or I don't like my kids, or whatever it is. That's okay, right? So the answer is fine there.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Well, actually, a good one, I'll just use this topic instead, was I was just talking to a guy, his best friend. So when this hardly ever happens, but when they were younger, they started Roth IRAs together. And they both said, you do it, I'll do it. And they were putting some money in there. And his friend never sold the positions. He just kept adding to it.
Yeah.
Caterpillar, old style positions. And so he died. So that guy called me and he was like, hey, my buddy died. Well, over his life, that guy got married, he had kids, and forgot that he had his best friend as a beneficiary.
Wow.
Just left it. They were best buds from like high school, made him the beneficiary. They each did. And he goes, he's $300,000 in this Roth. And his wife calls and says, hey, we could really use the money. You're the beneficiary. We were just told. And so he's obviously a stand-up guy. He's like, okay, we got to get this money back to you. And so he was headed down the path of, well, I'm going to have to eat some kind of cost. And I said, well, it's a Roth. You don't have to do that. And then the next step was, my kid's going to college, so I'm going to have this money that technically counts as an asset. He was about to fill out the FAFSA form and say he had $300,000 in cash. I'm like, no, whoa. So that's one way to look at growing your net worth, is not making those stupid mistakes, because number one, you don't report Roth IRA stuff, assets, money, cash, property, whatever. You don't report the Roth IRA stuff on your FAFSA form. You just leave it off. You're legally allowed to do that. Number two, it's not an asset. It was a Roth distribution. So he thought the cash in his bank was counted as an asset. No, Roth distributions don't count. Well, the money has to go somewhere. It went into his bank. What you do after that is none of the federal financial aid system's business. So we just saved him a ton of money, because now his kid can maybe get some kind of scholarship or some sort of grant from the government.
Yeah, wow.
But that one just sneaks up on you. He calls me out of the blue and he's like, we both just realized it. And then now he's still alive. So he's like, I changed it to my wife, but here I have this now guy that's passed away as a beneficiary. Cool story.
Yeah. When you started the whole story, I honestly thought, I was like, oh, where's the punchline here? It's another joke.
No, that was a genuine true story.
Another one in.
It just hit me. So I was like, wow, that's one of those weird things that and if you're working with a financial advisor or planner or whatever, retirement's just one little piece of the game. We don't have, like on our website, you can schedule a call with your advisor as much as you like, because if something small changes in your life, just run it by me. Yeah. Maybe, just maybe there's something that just changed that I can help you with. If not, we'll just talk about it and see where life's at, Yeah,
and you got to just think outside the box a little bit. I just had somebody the other day, I was telling you about this one too, because we brainstorm on these kind of things and really thinking through, if it's something unique, what can be done to hopefully save somebody some money, save them on taxes, grow their net worth. That's what we're looking for. And this person has a property that currently they're, allowing a church to use. Well, the idea of basically and I told her, run this by your CPA. I don't want to just throw this out there and say, hey, do this, because we aren't accountants or CPAs. We have to make sure that you're checking all the boxes on this. But basically being able to potentially either draw up a lease to, if you're just letting a church use the property, you're not using the property, it's just something that's there, letting the church lease it, but then actually, writing that off and instead gifting them the amount they would be leasing it for.
Yep.
Something there's got to be opportunity with stuff like that you've got to think through to be able to say, okay, potentially it's a rental property, but I'm going to gift the rent that I would be charging to the church, so then you don't have any actual income coming in, and instead you possibly have, some sort of charitable contribution on that, as well as being able to deduct some of the property, depreciate it, things like that while you're working on it. And it's one that, and if accountants watching, they're going to be like, well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
And that's where I say, I want to tell you to run stuff like that by a CPA, but we want to think outside the box as much as possible, because that, again, is how you're going to grow your net worth.
And that's some of the fun is just getting you to think of a question to ask. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know everything, but if I start asking questions, you go, I don't know. Can we do that? We brainstorm a little bit and go, we're going to have to bring in like a CPA here. Who do you work with? Like, that's a chance for all of us to have that conversation. But yeah, there could be something that they come up with and go, that's a good question, but no, you have to be structured as an S corp. And we go, okay, let's do that. Otherwise, your accountant, your CPA, they need to get it done. Whatever you present to them. So sometimes asking the question, even if it sounds silly and they go, oh God, it's something the guy saw online or whatever, you never know what door that may open there. So
no, that's you've hit the nail on the head, because I see so many CPAs, so many people that complain about the CPA, and it's like, they just filed my return. It's like, but did you ask them anything? Because ultimately their job is to file their return. And unless they're wanting to do tax planning and you're paying them a fee for that, it's thinking and asking questions and saying, hey, is this something possibly I could do? Starting to think outside the box on this thing. You have anything else on this one?
I think I'll go with that. That'll be good.
Okay. I like it. I like it. So, Father's Day. So I got to ask you, why is a giraffe such a good father? Because there's someone you can look up to.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah, it's Father's Day. Figured I'd throw that out there.
Okay. All right, turn the kids away.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just kidding.
Thank you. Okay, the other one was bad enough. It's like,
I keep going. I got them forever here.
No.
I'm not actually looking at anything. I'm just,
I know. I don't know how you store them out there.
So in my free time, I do graphic design stuff. I built a website for an orphanage. It didn't have a homepage.
That may offend somebody.
Go on.
Oh, gosh. All right. We're going to be done on that one. So,
Oh.
All right. Well, if you're watching, if you're dad, happy Father's Day. If you're a wife, thank you for all that you do. And for everybody else, hey, appreciate you watching.